Hey, you guys. Oh my gosh, back for another solo episode of Burnout to All Out. So excited about this episode, actually. Post Black Friday, I have been really reflecting upon just some wild success that we just recently had with our Black Friday special. And I thought, I've got to bring this to my listeners on the Burnout to All Out podcast because I want you guys to be able to plan and implement this next year in your businesses. Hey friend, Melissa Hinault here with the Burnout to All Out podcast. I'm a former multiple six-figure executive corporate burnout, feeling stuck in the life I built for myself. But using my corporate skills, I took to the internet and have built multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, showing others how they can build a life they love. Now, on this podcast, I share stories of being an entrepreneur, a mom to my 3 amazing kids, and wife to my wonderful and supportive husband who supports all my wild and crazy dreams. My journey is taking grit and persistence and belief. And believe me, I'm still a work in progress that you may witness in real time, whether it's in our free Burnout to All Out Facebook community or inside my mastermind, or even in my coaching programs, or maybe just right here on the podcast. I'm laughing and I'm crying with you. I've become a serial entrepreneur with a passion to inspire more burnouts to take the leap of faith and go all out and live out their dreams. Consider me your mentor in your head and on the go. So let's get started. So here's the deal. Let me ask you, how would you like to be able to take Black Friday off and literally be off cutting down Christmas trees in the mountains and passively make $50,000 in your bank account? This is not a pipe dream. This is a reality. It actually just happened in our business. And we actually just did a total of $75,000 total in sales in less than 2 weeks with our Black Friday promotion between launches, in between all the things. And, I just want to ask a rhetorical question. Who would be interested in being able to set up a business that allows you to do something like that, right? Here's the thing. We've never participated in a Black Friday special before ever. And this year, I actually had the foresight a couple of weeks or months in advance. Actually, it came to me a month and a half ago that we needed to jump on the bandwagon with the rest of the universe to run a Black Friday special. Now, here's the thing I want to point out before we get into this. I am not one that believes in discounting your services and products consistently on a consistent basis. I think it devalues your programs. However, what I am a fan of is jumping on the marketing bandwagon and psychology of sales and psychology of people's spending habits when it comes to Black Friday. Because here's the thing. People have their credit cards in hand and they're already in the psychology of spending that week, those couple of days, and people are more willing to spend. All of us are on the internet looking for a deal. So if there's one day of the year that you want to be able to leverage the psychology of the consumer to spend and ride that wave with the rest of businesses in the world, you want to run a Black Friday special. Now, here's the thing. Yes, it was a beautiful thing to be headed up to the mountains, spend time with my family, check in on Saturday morning and see that we had this onslaught of sales throughout the day and overnight while we were spending time with family, passively just coming in. But here's the thing. You all know that that's not where the story ends, right? The story starts way in advance. The story starts with way prior to the actual sales happening, right? That seem appearingly easy, but the story doesn't end there, right? So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that. And actually the title of this podcast episode is actually building your community before building your bank account. Building your community before building your bank account. So why do I say that? Because we have to have community and an audience to sell to, right? How many of you guys have seen, I saw it this year, I see it all the time, people just slap together crappy offers, throw them out there for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, just to join on the bandwagon, but they haven't earned the right to sell. They haven't actually built community and credibility in order to sell, right? So this is kind of a rhetorical question for some of my entrepreneurs who are listening to this, who maybe ran a Black Friday special or a Cyber Monday special that didn't go so well. This episode is for you. This episode is also for you if you're looking for ways to leverage in the next year how to actually maximize and plan in advance for these types of times where you can actually leverage and create passive income for yourself. Okay. So here's the thing. Rome was not built in a day. I'm going to say that one more time. Rome was not built in a day. Yes, we did $75,000 in sales in less than 2 weeks, 50 of which happened in less than 24 hours. But we earned the right to make those sales. And I want to underscore that. We earned the right to make those sales to our community because they trusted. They trusted us. They valued us. And we're excited to invest. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys today. I'm going to give you some key tips and tricks on how you can build community before you build your bank account so that when you build community, you then can monetize and build your bank account through providing incredible value, right? So why do you think influencers get paid by so many different companies to promote their products? I want you guys to think about that. Why do you think they get paid by companies to promote products? I want you to think about, and I'm not saying any of us have to be influencers. Lord knows I am not, right? We don't have to be influencers, but they're a great case study for building community and brand, right? Influencers get paid by companies to sell their stuff and talk about it online because they have a following. They have built community. They have people who love and trust what they put out, right? They have earned the right so that when they say to their followers, I love this product, you should try it, people buy it. Why? Because they have a brand on the internet. They have a personal brand related to the community they provide, the value they provide, right? And why people follow them. Here's the thing that I want to excite all of you. None of us have to be influencers to be wildly successful. Data shows us that we don't need more than 1,000 avid, I don't want to use the word followers. We only need 1,000 avid fans. Okay. We only need 1,000 avid fans to have $1 million business. So if you're listening to this podcast while you're driving, later on the replay, you might want to write this down later. But for those of you that are listening live, I want you to write this down. You only need 1,000 loyal fans to make $1 million. Okay. I think about the profit in our business in the first 2 years. And originally we really built it inside of a Facebook community. The first, multiple 6-figure launch we did only had 350 people in the community. Right? So you just have to have the right audience and the right avid fans, right? You just have to have the right audience. You don't have to be an influencer with 100,000 followers. If you guys go look at me and any of my social media handles, I don't have tens of thousands of followers. You don't have to have tens of thousands of followers. What makes my business and brand successful is the value we put out and the credibility we put out and the community we create for the focused, narrowed community and followers that we do have, right? So I hope you're hearing me loud and clear that you don't need tens of thousands of followers. You need 1,000 avid fans to scale $1 million a year business. That's all you need. From those 1,000 people, if you have a solutions-based product or service, you can create $1 million business. Okay. So I'm going to share with you 3 tips to get passive Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales next year. I know the time has passed. I want you to save this episode, mark your calendars for next year, but I'm sharing with you guys real time how next year you can be creating the story, you can be creating the community and laying the foundation now for your success and revenue in 2023. Okay. So I am going to share with you again, 3 tips that are going to help you in creating a community that's going to grow your bank account. Okay. So first of all, I just want to say that I want you to remember that people rarely invest in cold bodies. Okay. What do I mean by that? People invest in brands and people that they know, love, and trust. Inside the academy, our clients hear me talk about this all the time. People are much more likely to invest with someone that they find a connection with, that they trust, and that they have found tremendous value from. So if we're not focused on building trust and value on the internet, it's going to be really hard to throw out a Cyber Monday or a Black Friday sale and reap the benefits of revenue because you haven't earned the right to sell. There's no familiarity. There's no trust, right? Okay. So here are my 3 tips. Okay. Number 1, build community and authority so that when you sell something, people buy. So what do I mean by that? I'm going to give you some examples and how you can create community today. We have to build community before we build our bank account, okay? There are different ways that you can create community. I'll share with you some of the ways that we do. One is, hands down, you must create a free community. Otherwise, how are people ever going to know what your vibe is, what you're about, and what you have to offer, right? I really take pride in the communities we've created with my Burnout to All Out brand. Now, one of the ways that we create free community in my business is through free trainings. Many of you who listen to my podcast today and are listening to me live or watch this replay have been a part of my free community. A couple of times a year, I run totally free masterclasses where we very quickly warm up to our audience and create instant community and connection with our audience that become lifelong followers because of the totally free, values-based knowledge and education that we give to our audience with no strings attached. Of course, we're going to pitch them into our paid programs, but it doesn't hold us back from providing ridiculous value from day one because we are instantly creating credibility. We are instantly creating value. We are instantly sucking people into our ethos where we can then nurture them lifelong inside of our community and a number of different modalities. And we'll get into that in a minute, whether it's through SMS, whether it's through email, whether it's through a Facebook community or a different group on Slack or Telegram, whatever your channel may be for creating and crowdsourcing communities. So one way you can start creating community today is through just offering some free group trainings in whatever it is that you have to offer, right? Then they can get a taste and flavor for your style, your culture. If you've got people who work with you, they can really meet everyone, right? Number 2 is our paid communities, right? So we don't just have people register and purchase, on-demand courses. We don't have any of that in our business. In all of our paid communities, whether it's in our academy, whether it's in our mini mastermind for business basics, whether it's in our full-blown mastermind, there is live interactive networking and community build that happens. And we do that purposefully, right? So people aren't just dumped into a course. There's live coaching and interaction and providing a total vibe within the community, right? So my mission is going from burnout to living all out. We really foster that vibe inside of our communities, right? Ask yourself if you're currently creating programs, if you've got coursework, even if you've got free opt-ins, and people are reaching out and touching you in some aspect, how can you take that touch and funnel it into a formal community to create nurture, a retainer where you can keep in touch with your people, right? It could be once they've opted in. I know when folks opt into our free webinars, we're also touching them with value in other ways. Okay. And we'll talk about that again in just a minute. Another thing we do, and this is something that all of you can consider no matter what your business modality is I actually offer quarterly, totally free networking events that I facilitate through Zoom. And I pick a certain topic to facilitate some instruction around that gives absolute free value. But then I also use it as an opportunity for our community to network with each other. So again, I want you thinking about value, 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 right? How can you create value so that people get to know you and trust you with no strings attached, right? So we're actually hosting a networking event in 2 weeks, I believe, not next Monday, but the Monday after that. We're doing a holiday event and I'm facilitating a goal setting workshop, totally free. And I'm going to take everyone through some hypno breath work to really open their mindset and tap into their creative juices to expand them and what they're capable of in 2023, right? And then we're going to break out into small groups for networking. Again, I want you guys to hear, some of you may be listening to this and you're like, wow, that's a lot of work that you're not getting paid for, right? I know some of you guys are thinking that. Guys, this is the name of the game. This is the name of the game in the digital space. How can people get to know you virtually across the planet? How can they get close enough to you? How can they get close enough to your community and get into your ethos and become comfortable and familiar with you, right? And become obsessed with the content you put out, obsessed with the community you've created, and start to lay the foundations of trust and rapport. What I see so often is newer entrepreneurs in the digital space. They spend, a year and all their time working on an offer, a product or service, and then just want to come to market and try to sell shit on the internet without creating brand awareness and community. And if you are one of those people who's kind of new and building out a new offer, building out a new service, I really encourage you to consider that not only do you need to be building out what you're selling, you need to be building out community that you are serving for free right now. Right? Does this make sense? I hope this is resonating with you guys. So I have totally free networking events. You may have a totally free Facebook community that you go live in. Look at me right now. For those of you that are watching me, I am streaming live on multiple platforms, giving you free tips and tricks on how to build your community before your bank account and leverage on the output an incredible passive income for a Cyber Monday or Black Friday. And believe me, I'm going to tie it all in a bow here in a couple of minutes and how this all comes together and comes to fruition, right? So where can you be providing value and creating community and authority today, right? Maybe you use a Slack channel. For those of you that maybe have an on-demand course, I want you to think about, I know that's really easy to manage and super easy passive income. The problem with courses with no human connection is you've lost the lifelong opportunity with a client or customer by not creating some type of internal community for all these types of people who've invested in the same thing. So even if you have an evergreen course, even if you have an on-demand, you name it, even if you have XYZ product that people are purchasing, how can you create a retainer, meaning a place for all those people who've purchased? How can you create and foster community amongst all of them to network, to collaborate, to learn? How can you bring value? Because that creates community, right? It creates community. We must do what? Build community before we build our bank account. Okay. So that's a little bit about community building. But the other thing around, building community and authority is authority, right? What are you doing on the internet and through other modalities to create authority in your field. Okay. So if we're talking about social media, how are you creating brand awareness as an authority in your space? Right? How are you acknowledging that you understand your ideal client's problems better than anyone else? How are you making it a conscious effort to speak to them on the internet so that they feel like they relate to you, right? But also creating brand awareness through creating totally free value in your feed, totally free value as the authority so that you are recognized, so that the moment you say, hey, I'm running a Black Friday special on XYZ, you have an onslaught of a community who's vested, knows, loves, and trusts you, and is in the psychology of spending right now because it's Black Friday. That is when the magic starts to happen because you've earned the right? You've earned the right. Okay. Now, another great authority build, it doesn't have to be social media. It can be SMS. A great way to start building community is through text sequence. You can have people opt into something that then you give value back to on a daily or weekly basis. So for instance, we have a text opt-in. I'll throw it out there. If you want to take a look, it's 833-310-7171. And you will drop in the word LinkedIn, okay? 833-310-7171. And if you opt into that and type in the word LinkedIn, you're going to be folded into our nurture text sequence where every week I'm getting into your pocket on your phone and sending you inspiration and tips and tricks to grow your business and your money mindset, right? What is that doing? It's creating value. What is it doing? Creating authority. What is it doing? Creating a sense of community because they are connected to me and my brand Burnout to All Out so that they can get an invitation through SMS to come join our networking event and goal setting for the year. Are you guys seeing a theme here? It's all free. It's all free. And most people skip that free step because they just want the sale. But you're skipping the right to earn the sale in the first place, right? Because people don't invest in cold leads, cold sales. They invest in people they trust and love. You must build community before you build your bank account, right? Another way to build community is through your email nurture. So if you have a great little opt-in that people can opt into that allows you to capture their email address, now they're folded into your community and your ethos. It is your turn to start focusing on kicking out value to them, authority to them into their inbox. Okay. Now, what I want to underscore here is I don't want this to overwhelm you all because you may be like, oh my gosh, social media, SMS, and email nurture, that is a lot. It's actually not. If you follow my business closely, they're all the same. They're all the same. So what I mean by that is everything we promote on each platform comes through everything. So we push out a podcast every week. Wouldn't you know that once a week, that podcast is featured on social media? The copy from the promotion of that podcast on social media is also folded into an email sequence, and it's also included in SMS, tips and tricks through text that come from the podcast series. So what I want you to understand is it just becomes omni-channel, right? You create the value once, and then you're just putting it out to multiple platforms. You don't have to create new things for everything, right? But you see how you can create a sense of community with the same content through different avenues because some people stay close to their phone. I can bring you value on your phone. Some people you want to stay close to through their inbox because they check their email more than they're ever on social media. Some of you have followers who love being in Facebook groups, right? So you have to know where you need to be seen and provide value over and over and over again, which brings me to topic number 2. So I said I was going to bring you 3 tricks. The first trick was build community and authority. Okay. The second trick is now you must be consistent in what you're doing. So to be a one-hit wonder and throw some value out once is not going to do it. consistency wins. Okay. I don't just run one networking event a year. I run them quarterly. What happens? People start to look forward to them. They find value in them. It's a snowball effect of more and more and more people showing up because I'm consistent. Same with our social, right? The more value I put in, the more people come to my feed for content that brings value to them, right? And the reality is only 1% of your network on any given day sees the content you put out and is psychologically in a space to invest. So I want you to think about that when you're thinking about your social media presence. If you're scattered and you're not consistent about your authority and your brand and your value and community, you're obsolete. I want you to understand that this aspect of business is priceless. Like you can't not do it if you're a digital CEO. You can't scale a business on the internet without providing consistent value and authority and community. Okay. You must be consistent, right? Loyal fans invest in you because you've earned the right. They invest in you because they trust you. Okay. You've earned the right. So the reason I'm really belaboring this is because even my mind even exploded as I'm up in the mountains on Friday because we've never done a site. Listen, I'm sharing with you guys as I'm learning as an entrepreneur. I just told you at the beginning of this, I've never created a sale for any of my programs ever. So I'm beta testing things. And I want to tell you, it was my own personal experience of being on vacation and having set everything up prior. And we'll talk about that in a minute. That's number 3 is the planning of the actual promotion. But I'd never done this before. And I go away with my family for the holidays. We are literally up on a mountain cutting trees. I didn't even bring my work computer. And Black Friday happens. The magic happens because we set it all up to go out. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Saturday morning, Jackie, my operations director, shoots me a text. She's like, holy shit, we've done like 50K in sales in 24 hours with this Black Friday promotion, right? And that is when the light bulb went off to me that I was like, I have to do a podcast on this. Because I was full of so much immense gratitude, first of all, that so many people entrusted in us and the services and the products that we provide, that 27 people said yes in 24 hours to opt in to learn from us, to be mentored by us. And I can guarantee you not a single one of those 27 people were strangers in my feed that had never seen me before. I can guarantee you none of them randomly saw a social media post for the very first time from me and said, that's what I need. I'm going to give this stranger my money. Okay. And so the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I was overwhelmed. I could like cry about it. I was overwhelmed with immense gratitude that within 24 hours, that many people could say yes to something without us doing a launch, without us selling it while I was with my family, snuggled in a bed in the mountains, that this happened, right? And the reason I'm sharing this is because on the outside looking in, one could say, wow, how lucky is she? How lucky is that team that they did 50K in one day while they were on vacation, which by the way, Jackie was checking it. So I wouldn't say she was technically on vacation that Friday, but I was, right? How did it happen? We earned the right. I want this to resonate with you guys. We earned the right to sell and have a flash promotion that people jumped for. Okay. Now this brings me to number 3 is planning the promotion and doing it right. Okay. So there's a number of things you need to think about. One of the things we assessed was, okay, if we're going to do a Black Friday special, let's time it around something that we're looking to fill a class for next year and something that our clients are really desiring and the timing is right to put it out that has tremendous value. Okay. So that was number 1. For us specifically, we were really looking at our Business Basics Accelerator mini mastermind. We do a number of what we call launches throughout the year to promote our flagship program, the Academy. And we had discussed how can we do a soft launch for our business basics, meaning, not killing ourselves as a team to promote and sell it. How can we soft launch it to our warm market and fill the class for next year without doing a hard launch over the holidays, right? So the first thing is, how can you be strategic about A, what your followers want and need, B, what's aligned to what you want to roll out in your business, right? And so for us, it was the Business Basics Accelerator, the mini mastermind. And then the thing you need to think about is, how do I make it irresistible? How do I make it irresistible? For us, because we'd never done it before, we thought, let's make it absolutely irresistible. We're going to make it 50% off. Because we decided as a team, it was worth an effort to make it an irresistible offer to passively fill it than it was to charge full price and do a large launch selling and promoting it over a number of weeks to months. Now, this is where you have to look in as a business owner at your own books and your own numbers and make sure you're not putting an offer out there that's going to put you in the red, right? And I'll tell you right now, in retrospect, I'm always honest with you guys, sharing with you like our experiences. Next year, we won't do 50% off. It sold out so fast. We filled our entire class up in 24 hours that next year we'll probably do a 30% off and not a 50% off. And I'll also, in full disclosure, say it's the only sale we'll ever run, because I don't believe in constantly slashing prices on programs. But I do believe, just like the rest of the world, that we can be strategic business owners and ride the wave of people's money, mentality, and psychology during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And that was one of my messages to my audience was, look, you're on the internet investing and looking for deals for Christmas presents for everyone else. What are your thoughts on what you're investing in for yourself and your business next year while you have your credit card out and you're buying all this junk for everybody else? Do you really need that other pair of stockings, those leggings, that jacket, right? We end up buying crap for ourselves that we don't need either during Cyber Monday and Black Friday. And so again, I think it's about making it an irresistible offer, timing it with something that makes sense in your business. And then the last thing I want to say on this is plan in advance. So a lot of folks knee jerk like the week of Black Friday or like, oh shit, I need a Black Friday offer. So I throw it out there. And then you're disappointed that nobody buys it. We got very strategic a month before Black Friday and actually worked with my team and built out an incredible email sequence to prep our audience that it was coming. We actually put it into SMS to tell them it was coming, to look out for it, right? Because again, we know that only a small percentage of your audience is looking at social media on any given day and is ready to invest. So it's the one time a year we were a little bit obnoxious. If you're on my SMS or you're in my email, you might have been like, okay, enough notifications, Melissa, right? But what it does is it primes your audience to be ready to invest. Lets them know it's coming so that it's not a surprise. What I have to say about this is it's not just about the offer, right? It's not just about the community, which are both very important. We just talked about all that, but it's also about your planning and how strategic you're being and putting it out there. We also have affiliates in our program. We had a small little call with them for 30 minutes, 2 weeks before the Black Friday special. And we said, look, this is what we're rolling out. Here are your affiliate links. Be sure to inform your network the day that we have the special, right? So it was about being a strategic CEO in executing an incredible offer, okay? Let me recap for you. So the results, we closed out our Business Basics Accelerator for next year. We're done. We're full, right? I want to underscore, though, that what seemingly seems like I just let the world know on Friday, we're doing this thing. Oh, we're closed out. We made 50 grand. We're done. That's what it looked like on the surface. But underneath, I've spent years creating value. I've spent years creating community. I've spent years nurturing and creating trust and With that, you earn the right when you build community first and serve first, give value first, your bank account will grow, right? So let me recap for you. Be prepared. Don't put together a shitty offer because the rest of the world is. Promote something that's aligned to your business and aligned to what you need to launch and aligned to what your clients need. Know what your community values. Grow your community. Nurture your community. Be consistent. Be consistent. Now, the last thing I will say on this is be prepared for naysayers if you're going to do this. It is the first time we've ever had a Black Friday special or a sale at all. And out of the hundreds of people who've come through our programs, I will say I got 2 nasty messages from people in my program who wanted to rip my head off for making an offer, a discounted offer. And to them, I actually have empathy for them or sympathy in their mindset, because in my mind, and this is where you have to stand in your power as a business owner. You run your business. You have the authority to run it the way you want to. In my mind, I was giving a gift to my community. For 24 hours, I was paving it forward and allowing an opportunity for more people to come in than ever before. But you're going to have the scarcity mindseted occasional client who's not going to be happy with your decision. And so I want you to be prepared for that and be able to come back with an abundance mindset that I'm sorry that you see it this way, right? To me, it was an incredible opportunity to give back. I'm full of gratitude. It's been an incredible year, right? Why don't you share this with your network who could really, really, really use the discount, right? So be prepared for that. So with that, I hope this has been of value for you guys. So look at this. Listen up. If you're interested in seeing what our email nurture sequence looked like to lead up into our Black Friday special this year that worked so well, text us, okay? Text us at 833-310-7171. You've got to opt in through LinkedIn, got to type in the LinkedIn. Once you're into our text sequence, let us know. Once you're in, text us back with your email and say, hey, this is so-and-so. Let us know who you are. We check your messages every day. Let us know. I want to see your Black Friday email nurture, and we'll send it to you. We'll send it to you. Do you see what I just did? I just offered you guys value. And for those of you who would find tremendous value in that, you're going to take the time to text us. And it's going to be symbiotic. We now are going to fold you into our nurture sequence where we can nurture you more than just through this podcast and create more value for you. And you're going to get value back in this email sequence that you want to see and leverage for your own business as you prepare for next year, right? Okay. I hope you guys found this helpful. And with that, I'll see you with my next episode for the Burnout to All Out podcast. Thanks for listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. For free resources, materials, or information on my coaching services, go ahead over to livethefreelife.co. That's livethefreelife.co. Or check out our Facebook community at Burnout to All Out, and make sure you follow Burnout to All Out on Spotify and subscribe to iTunes. And it would truly mean the world to me if you paused for just a second, gave me that 5-star review of the show, and be sure to share this episode with any burnouts you think would be inspired to go all out after hearing this episode.